Hi everyone, I'm Lucy James and I am so excited to be here with you all today to reveal the nominations for this year's BAFTA Games Awards. BAFTA is an independent arts charity celebrating its 77th year this year, and as well as recognizing the best of the best in film and television, this year BAFTA are celebrating the Games Awards 20th anniversary. Now, these awards are voted on by BAFTA members and juries made up of a broad spectrum of the games industry, including, but not limited to, we've got composers, artists, actors, coders, and members of the press. They celebrate the talented people who build the games that we love, right from the initial ideas all the way through to release and beyond. Now, we want to say up front and acknowledge that it is an incredibly difficult time for many people, too many people, working in the video games industry at the moment. To those that have been affected by recent studio closures, project cancellations, redundancies, please know that you are very much in our thoughts today. The BAFTA Games Awards exist to recognize and celebrate creative and technical achievements of the games we love. And every single game is only made possible by the talented people who make it. And all game makers deserve to be celebrated. So, whether your game is nominated here today or not, we thank you for the brilliant work that you do. But today, we're here to shine an extra special spotlight on the best of the best. Those incredible games that made 2023 what an incredible year. Such an incredible year, and that they'll be nominated today for the 2024 BAFTA Games Awards. And to help me do it, I'm very proud to be joined by some familiar faces from the wonderful world of video games to do it. So, let's say hello to our panelists. First up, we have a multi-talented film, game, and music maker and co-founder of Easy Allies, Isla Hinck.
Hi.
Hi, Isla. We've got producer and host at Kinda Funny and Forbes 30 Under 30 recipient, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Hello, good day. So happy to be here.
Great to have you. We have prolific streamer, voiceover artist, host, and presenter, Leah Alexandra.
Hello, pleasure to be here again. Second year in a row.
Yeah, great to have you back. And host, presenter, and cast member of Natural Six, Aoife Wilson.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Everyone, it is so great to have you here. Are we excited about today's nominations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
What do we think
Greatest
is
year in
going?
gaming.
Seriously, wow, greatest year for video game releases. Maybe not one of the best for the industry, but
Well,
what do
yeah.
we think? Yeah, what do we think is going to be walking away with a lot of nominations today? Blessing, I'll go to you first.
Oh man. I mean, my heart goes towards Tears of the Kingdom. I'm such a big Zelda fan, and I think Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was such an incredible experience. I'm going between that. I think Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2 also are two games that have a lot to offer when you look across different categories of performance, visuals, music, and all of that. And so, yeah, I think I could see those three coming out with a lot. But yeah, like we said, last year was such a great year for video games that there's a lot on the board that could walk away with a lot of nominations.
I'm going to ask the panel then, are there any hidden gems that you really hope get recognized today?
There's so many games that I'm so excited to see do well today, and at the ceremony itself. There's obviously Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, all of those. But the one that I really, really, really want to get a nomination is Dredge, because it was honestly one of my games of last year. Because of just how unusual it is, and it's sort of a vibe that I just want to see more of. So it would be just so wonderful to see it do well, so that we can get more weird horror fishing games, or games that are like just more about like dread than actual jump scares.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, it's time to go through the nominations and see what is going to be up and take one of those little masks home. But before we get into the nominations, there is one category where you at home get to decide the winner. Earlier this week, we announced the nominations for the EE Players' Choice Award, and your votes will get to decide which game takes the crown. The nominations are 2. Voting is open right now, so head over to ee.co.uk/gaming/BAFTA Games and make your vote count. Now, as the name suggests, BAFTA have always been champions of British creativity and excellence in the screen arts. So to kick off today's nominations, let's take a look at the homegrown heroes who've taken the video games industry by storm in 2023 with the nominees for Best British Game. Cassette Beats, Dead Island 2, Disney Illusion Island, Football Manager 2024, Viewfinder, and Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin. Now, congratulations to all the nominees so far. Our next set of nominations spotlight those who create the building blocks of a successful game. Here are your nominations for narrative. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Dredge, Final Fantasy XVI, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Your nominations for technical achievement. We have Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy XVI, Horizon Call of the Mountain, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Starfield. And rounding off this section of nominations, we have the nominees for game design. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Viewfinder. Okay, so we've went through, congratulations, we've been through a few categories there. Leah, what's jumping out at you? Some incredible games already on the shortlist.
Yeah, I mean, it's the absolute breadth that we're seeing here across genres is blowing my mind. This year has been a crazy gift for anybody who likes any game ever. It's been amazing. I love the nods to Viewfinder in particular. I think that one is a very unique, gorgeous looking game. So I'm glad that we've seen some nominations there. But of course, I mean, the show stealer, we've got Baldur's Gate 3, we've got Final Fantasy 16 I did love as well. So lots of huge titles.
Isla, I want to come to you. So we've got narrative. We've got Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate, Dredge, Final Fantasy, Tears of the Kingdom, and Jedi Survivor. Which one is leaping out at you there?
I mean, juggernauts all. Baldur's Gate and Alan Wake are two of best game narratives I've seen in a long time, and they both come at it from a completely different angle, right? Baldur's Gate is just huge and complex and intricate, and Alan Wake is so cool and so weird. But I wouldn't be surprised if any of these took that. Just a great year for stories. It was pretty. We're snacking.
Truly. And in terms of technical achievement, it was really great to see VR getting a nomination there. But we also got things like Blessed. We got Tears of the Kingdom got nominated along with Horizon Call of the Mountain and Starfield, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, and Alan Wake for technical achievement. Which really jumped out at you? What impressed you this year?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty stacked category. You know, I want to call out Horizon Call of the Mountain because that was one that's like the VR representative there, and that was a launch title for PlayStation VR 2, and that's a game that I got to play through at launch, and I was very impressed by just the scope and scale of it. When you look around and you see the Horizon visuals that you're used to seeing on console, but then being actually in that world and seeing the machines and all that, and all the colors, all the fidelity, that stuff was very mind-blowing in that game. So I definitely think that game deserves a shout out for that. Of course, Tears of the Kingdom is one that I'm always thinking about in terms of technical achievement for what that game was able to do on the Switch with all of the systems it has going on. Obviously the stuff that from Breath of the Wild, the physics systems and all that, but then also adding in the building mechanics too. I think that stuff was really cool. And then Final Fantasy 16 had such good scale. That game had so much going on in terms of visuals, in terms of larger than life boss fights, in terms of a lot of good performances too, facial capture. And so I think there's a number of games that are very strong in that category.
And Aoife, 2 nods for Dredge so far. You called it.
So good. I'm so glad for them. That is right out the gate. That's amazing. It's so good. I mean, one of my favorite things about the BAFTA Games Awards every year, year after year, is that amazing mix of these, the AAA blockbusters and then the indie games that kind of just come out of nowhere and wow everybody. It's amazing to see.
I completely agree. Who's up for some more categories? Let's see what else has been nominated. Our next set of awards honor the people who bring the games that we love to life through their incredible art direction, sound design, animation, and music composition. Here are the nominations for animation: Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Hogwarts Legacy, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The nominees for Artistic Achievement: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cocoon, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush. The nominees for Audio Achievement: Alan Wake 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Hi-Fi Rush, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And finally for this block, the nominees for music: Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Baldur's Gate 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Wow, congratulations to all of the nominees for those categories. Lot to dig into there. Let's kick it off with music. I think I would have thrown a little bit of a rage if Alan Wake hadn't have been nominated, because We Sing was probably the moment of the year. Would you all agree?
Oh my
Absolutely.
God, yeah.
Very cool.
It's definitely up
However,
there, yeah.
I have to say also though, like when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, Down by the River was just on a loop in my head
Yeah.
for about a month solid. So,
And I mean, that title
still
music as
Still in
well.
there.
Yes, and of course, and Spider-Man 2 and Tears of the Kingdom, and Mirage. It's a fantastic category. Let's talk a little bit about audio, because I think audio could really make or break immersion in a video game, and it's something where it's like, if it is done right, it pulls you into the experience even more. So we've got Alan Wake, COD, Hi-Fi Rush. Also, Hi-Fi Rush for having 2 Nine Inch Nails songs in the soundtrack. I'm very happy about that. Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Leah, what's jumping out to you from that category?
I think the thing with audio achievement particularly is that it's when it's done right, you don't notice it a lot of the time because it's so immersive. You don't pick it out as being wrong. So audio is a really fascinating one. And I think for me, I played through Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and you just feel so immersed into that entire Star Wars world that you just have to marvel at how well it's all imagined and how well they've done to keep you in the zone, really.
I completely agree. An artistic achievement: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate, Cocoon, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy, and Hi-Fi Rush. Now, Blessing, I know you're a big Cocoon fan. Were you expecting to see it in this category?
Oh, yeah. I'm very happy to see it in this category. I like many of these categories, right? Like, it's such a stacked one, but I think Cocoon, when you talk about artistic design, is such a striking game, right? Like, it is one of those ones where it's able to tell a very compelling story without saying any words. You know, when I think of that game, I think back to games like Inside or Limbo, which there's a lineage there in terms of the devs that worked on it. And what all those games have in common is having something very deep to say, and also having a game that is very engrossing in a world that captures you. That is one, like, I think that word immersive is a very good one for this category, right? Like, those worlds immerse you, and I think Cocoon does such a good job with its art and its direction to like bring you in and keep you in this world.
I completely agree. Now, we're already seeing a lot of nominations for Baldur's Gate and Alan Wake. Where else could those games go, do you think? Do you think it could go all the way and get the noms for Best Game?
I think
Without a doubt.
that's
Look at these
probably a
nods.
fair shot, yeah. Although, I will say,
So I'm
really,
going for Hi-Fi Rush.
I am really glad to see, of all the categories, I'm really glad to see Alan Wake 2 in artistic and audio, because for me, there's nothing that looks quite like a Remedy game. Like, they are always so distinct, and they're always so unique in how they present themselves. And for me, playing through Alan Wake, it is just gorgeous on the eyes. Like, you know, it's supposed to be a horror game, so it's supposed to be like a little bit unpleasant at times, right? But you're just so drawn in by the world, the lighting, like the live action bits, like, it is just a feast for the eyes and the ears.
And we've
It
got
really
a
felt
nod
like
for
the game where the Remedy thing like really came together for the best
yeah.
they've ever done.
Yeah,
It
totally.
was really exciting to see. Blessings shouted it out, but Hi-Fi Rush in these categories is like, I mean, what a no-brainer for animation, but like just such a surprising game that did such crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
it just came out of nowhere. It's such a fun game.
That's
I'm
it.
so happy to see it in
I,
these
I
categories.
I like it for audio and for animation. Just for what there was
Yeah.
a moment when I was playing that game where like I just had it on the idle animation, and the way that the chai and 808 like move to the beat and everything works in conjunction with each other.
Yeah.
Like it's so cool to look at.
Completely agree. Right, time for our next set of categories, which recognize the actors that bring your favorite game's characters to life. Here are your nominees for Performer in a Supporting Role. Andrew Wincott as Raphael in Baldur's Gate 3. Deborah Wilson as Sia Junda in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Ralph Ineson as Sid in Final Fantasy XVI. Sam Lake as Alex Casey in Alan Wake 2. Tony Todd as Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Tracy Wiles as Jahira in Baldur's Gate 3. And now, performer in a leading role. Amelia Tyler as the narrator in Baldur's Gate 3. Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Naji Jeter as Miles Morales in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Neil Newbon as Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3. Samantha Bayart as Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Oh, these are the toughies. These are like, I wouldn't want to. I mean, the jury have a difficult job already, you know, like narrowing all of these down and then voting. But all of these incredible performances this year. Let's start with leading roles. So we like the narrator, Cal Kestis, Miles Morales, Astarion, Karlach, Peter Parker. That is a tough category. Neil's obviously got the Game Award for Astarion, but who's your money on? Leah, I'll come to you.
I think it should not be underestimated how, Amelia Tyler's performance in Baldur's Gate 3 was just so good. Like, you are with Amelia for the entire game and you never get sick of hearing, well, at least I never ever get sick of hearing her. Her delivery, everything about her lines, she's fantastic, amazing performance. But I mean, it's such a stacked category. Karlach was incredible as well, obviously Astarion, and I'm a Baldur's Gate fangirl, sorry.
It's why I threw to you. No, and then, I mean, obviously, performer in a supporting role. Raphael, Sia Junda, Sid, Alex Casey, Venom, and Jahira. Another stat category. Blessing, who's leaping out at you? Who would you put your money on?
I mean, Sid from Final Fantasy 16. Like, if you played that game, and first of all, Ralph Ineson is just so incredibly talented, and so it's awesome
You're
to see him
Ineson, dude.
jumping into video games. Yeah, and like, his role is Sid. Such a great character, probably my favorite character in that game. It's between him and Clive. But also, shout out to Tony Todd from Spider-Man. I think that was such a powerful role as well. And then, Sam Lake is Sam Lake. Like, what a funny like way to include that character. But also, I think he had such a presence in Alan Wake too that I wouldn't be surprised to see him taken home either.
Yeah, it's a wild category. Quickly, Isla, Aoife, who's leaping out at you?
I
was just happy to see the narrator. Oh, sorry. I was just happy to see the narrator get a nomination because I think she gets overlooked a lot of the time. Go ahead.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm loving that Naji Jeter was in there as well because Miles is standout favorite for me in Spider-Man 2.
Yes, 100%. Now, we're shouting out the categories that celebrate new stories, new ways of telling stories, and games that keep us coming back year after year. Here are the nominations for Debut Game. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, Venba, and Viewfinder. The nominees for Game Beyond Entertainment, Chants of Sanaa, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, Thirsty Suitors, and Venba. And the nominees for Evolving Game, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy XIV Online, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 5, Genshin Impact, and No Man's Sky. Oh, those are three great categories. I'm gonna go with debut game. I think debut game has been my favorite category so far because of Dredge, Cocoon, Dave the Diver, and Venmo and Viewfinder and Stray Gods. Aoife, I'll come to you quickly. You didn't get to speak much in the last one, but which is leaping out at you other than Dredge?
Other than Dredge, I mean, it's probably going to be, I think, Cocoon. I mean, debut game is always such a fun category because you can, like, I think for some of the others, you can kind of get a sense, of what may appear and what sort of the rhythm of it is going to be in advance. But for debut game, it's always so exciting because it might be a few games that haven't actually hit your radar yet, or that, because I always look to BAFTA at this time of year as how am I gonna where are the holes in my pile of shame here? Like what titles do I need to catch up on before the ceremony itself? And debut game is always such a fun one to be like, all right, well I've got to do this, and this. And yeah, this year no different. Like I'm really excited to play some of these, or replay some of them as well.
I know we've got some Dave the Diver fans on the panel. How's everyone's sushi restaurant holding up? We've got a nomination for debut game in here. How's everyone feeling about Dave the Diver getting this nod? Isla, I'll come to you.
Just what a special game, and like there should be an award for best like anime cutscenes because chef's kiss to these, like just the vibes of this game. I was very surprised by it. Best big company indie game. But Dave the Diver and Viewfinder, like for a debut game, like obviously there's some veterans in there, but like Viewfinder is one of those games where you see it and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this. Like, I don't know how you're doing any of the things you're doing. And for a debut game, that's very impressive too.
And quickly, we'll talk about evolving games. So Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 5, Genshin Impact, and No Man's Sky. Blessing, what are your thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077 in this category?
Oh my gosh, Cyberpunk 2077 is such a good contender in this category, just for the fact that both you had the Phantom Liberty DLC, which was such an incredible story. I absolutely loved it. Idris Elba performed his butt off in it. You have that. You had the Cyberpunk 2.0 sort of like update where they went in and they revamped a lot of the systems. And when you go and you play Cyberpunk 2077 today versus what it was about 4 years ago, it feels like a different game. Like they really went in and polished it up and turned it into something really special to the point where I would even consider it one of my favorite RPGs at this point. And so, yeah, I think that for me is the one that sticks out in this category.
And for Game Beyond Entertainment, Chance of Sonar, Goodbye Volcano High, Cheer, Terra Nil, Thirsty Suitors, and Venba. Leah, what's leaping out at you from that category?
I remember doing a fair bit of research on some of these, and they're all so different. They're all so unique. A lot of them going into interesting aspects of like cultural heritage and things that you would never have known about if you hadn't played them. So I'm ashamed to say I've never played any of them, but that's
sorry.
I know. Well, that's the fun of BAFTA, really, is that I like last year I came away with so many games that I then played afterwards. So yeah.
It's a great way to, like, yeah, as Aoife said, fill in that backlog and figure out which to prioritize. Play Venba, everyone. It's so good.
Yeah,
anyway,
play Venba.
Play Venba. DLC's coming. The next few categories cover everything from family games, multiplayer, to new IPs. First up, your nominees for family: Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Disney Illusion Island, Hi-Fi Rush, Hogwarts Legacy, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nominees for multiplayer: Baldur's Gate 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Party Animals, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And the nominees for new intellectual property: Chance of Sonar, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Hi-Fi Rush, Jusant, and Viewfinder. I mean, another three incredible categories there. Let's start with family. Another nod for Super Mario Brothers Wonder there. Who on the panel is a big Mario fan? Who wants to chat about this one?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you're Isla.
Isla, go for it, and then Blair.
Oh, okay. I just think we can both go for it. I'll go fast. To take a game with 35 whatever years of heritage and like innovate on it in such surprising ways that keep surprising you for the runtime of an entire game. What a special, beautiful game. And like, I, every time there was a new musical number, I was still caught off guard, you know? And I'm like, I should expect them by now, but I just don't. Like, what a beautiful game.
Yeah,
Bless.
right when I think I'm getting a little bit of 2D Mario fatigue, they pull me right back in. And yeah, Mario Brothers Wonder does this special thing where it has the Wonder Seed mechanic where in each and every level, if you find the Wonder Seed, it'll transform the level into something really different, really cool, and really outrageous. And the fact that they were able to keep that up in each and every level shows a level of consistency in that game that is really impressive. And then also, yeah, just a level of art style that is depicted in that really like breathes in fresh new life. Like I think that game is a case study of how important art direction and art style is in a game, because they used that to really elevate 2D Mario to another level.
Leah, for multiplayer, we've got Baldur's Gate 3, Call of Duty, Diablo 4, Forza, Party Animals, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I know you're a big Baldur's Gate fan. Did you play it in multiplayer? In co-op?
I did, yeah. I did. I played some co-op, and the fact that they were so fast as well to make the co-op experience better so quickly, because, you know, there were some teething problems, and then they were like, oh, we see how you guys need to play this, and they responded, and that's awesome. And I'm a big fan of Forza. I've worked with them quite a lot, so a bit biased there. And, you know, there's so many different games like Party Animals, Forza. How are you supposed to pick between a hardcore racer and a really fun little family game? They're all amazing.
Yeah. Completely agree. I think that's a really tough category, and I don't even know where I would put my vote. New intellectual property, Aoife, Chance of Sonar, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Hi-Fi Rush, Juiceon, and Viewfinder. That is a tough category.
That really is, and it's a really interesting one as well. I think it's one where like people kind of they sort of forget about it, but then again, it's like it's a really exciting one where you get to see a lot of interesting brand new titles come up, and you know, there's obviously like Dredge is kind of like the one that I'm most interested in there, but but it's so like, and I mean, think about like how transformative that is for so many studios as well to get like, you know, brand new IP and it's a BAFTA nomination. It's definitely like super deserved, and it's just so exciting to see so many sort of new faces, I guess, in there, for want of a better phrase.
Well, folks, I can't believe it. We're here already. It's the moment we've all been waiting for.
Ooh.
The nominations for Best Game. I'm excited. All right. The nominees for Best Game: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Dave the Diver, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Oh, it was a stacked year. Let's talk about each of them. Let's start with Alan Wake 2. A lot of nominations today. What do you think elevated it to Best Game nominee status? Isla, what do you reckon?
I mean, like we were saying before, it's just such a like conflagration of so many amazing elements. You've got, you know, I'm a huge FMV fan, but you've got FMV and like they've been honing their kind of spooky vibes for so many years, and now this is the first time they've like fully embraced survival horror kind of elements, and then you wrap in that with just a banging weirdo narrative, and you've got a really special package with incredible art design and direction. Just like what a stunning video game.
They really nailed that specific time and place that they're going for, and then, as you say, like just made it weird, and it's like we're all completely here for it. And I mean, it's just, it's so unique looking, it's so, you know, it's so unique as a whole, I think, that there's just nothing else quite like it, and it's such a fun experience. Like, you know, so many moments I was like, gasp, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? You're fully just invested in that world, and I can't wait to see what happens with them.
Yeah, and Baldur's Gate 3, I think we all kind of knew this one would end up in this category. Yeah, thoughts? Do you think they can get the Game Award and the BAFTA?
Very
Stranger things
possible.
have happened.
I mean, it's such I can't. My mind is blown when I think about how you have to develop a game like that. Like, there's so many different pathways, so many narrative decisions, so many character choices that can affect every single thing you're doing in the game. It's huge. It's so varied. It's a marvel, really, and I don't think you see games like that very often. It encompasses everything. It's got so many technical achievements. It's got so many positives to it. I'm losing my mind. I don't know how to talk about it. It's so good. It's just a real rare game.
Staggering
Blessing, you thrilled
game.
to see the Blessing, you thrilled to see the Tears of the Kingdom nod?
Oh yeah, yeah. Tears of the Kingdom was such a special one. Obviously, like Breath of the Wild was already a special game when that released back in 2017, and Tears of the Kingdom followed up on an impossible task to, like, put out a sequel to one of the best games ever made in the eyes of so many people, and they did it right. Like, they took the technical aspects of it and really pushed it forward with the combining of items, with the building, with the flying and all that stuff, right? Like, there's so much there, let alone the size of it having 3 different levels to what its world design is, from going to the sky to being on the ground to being below the ground. They do so much with that. And then, yeah, like the story, the writing, that's a game that I fell in love with, and made me fall in love with that world all over again. And so very excited to see that there.
No one reiterates like Nintendo.
Exactly.
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't spoken much about Marvel Spider-Man 2. Aoife, I know you're a big fan. What do you reckon about them getting the nod for best game?
Very glad to see them in there, because that, I think I finished that game over a weekend because I just couldn't tear myself away from it. I loved the initial Spider-Man game, and I was kind of also a little bit nervous when they announced the sequel, because I was like, one of my favorite things about Peter Parker, almost any iteration of Peter Parker, is that he loves being Spider-Man, and the first game was so good at showing that joy that he has at being Spider-Man. And then when they announced the second one, and Venom is involved, you're kind of like, is this kind of gonna dilute some of that joy that we felt the first time around? But the way that they went with the story, and the way that they kind of, folded the other characters in, and sort of like because obviously the great thing about Insomniac is that they've made this universe their own. It's completely their own version of Spider-Man, and they're not afraid to take that IP. They obviously hold it in reverence, but they're not afraid to do new things with it, and that's exactly what they did with 2. And there's so many moments in that game where I think I was crying, like, screaming, crying, throwing up. It was amazing.
Dave the Diver as well. Oh, I loved Dave the Diver. I'm so glad to see it here. Isla, I know we're talking about like best anime cutscenes, but what else do you think about Dave the Diver that really elevated it and got it in the hearts and minds of the juries this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of the surprise in this group of nominees. Like, it's kind of the usual suspects and Dave the Diver, which I'm really excited to see, which I think is a testament to this game's kind of what makes it special, and like that it is such a unique and interesting kind of experience, and it's a combination of at least 2 kinds of games, but kind of a few more, and like that's something that either could crash and burn, or works really, or I guess could sink, but it swims. It really goes for it. And what a special, fun, weird little game. It's so cool to see it in here.
And to round off the nominees for best game, we've got Super Mario Brothers Wonder. We talked a little bit about it earlier, about just how it's so magical and inventive. Were we expecting it to see it as a best game nominee? I'll open this up to the floor because it's a fantastic game.
It is, but I guess I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised to see it as best game, because I wouldn't have thought it was one of the front runners this year for that. But it is lovely to see it in there, because I think it's like, Nintendo. Who would have thought in 2024 we are still seeing innovation in a Super Mario Brothers game? Do you know what I mean? Like, and no one does that like Nintendo. The fact that they can constantly come at their games, their long-running franchises, and make them feel fresh and exciting. That's the thing. They're always exciting to play, even when the basic building blocks of every game, but they're always surprising you with fresh mechanics, fresh sort of perspectives. So I think it's, it's more than well deserved that it's in there.
Completely agree. Well, what a year it has been for game releases, and huge congratulations to all of our nominees who helped make 2023 so special for video game releases. Now, don't forget to cast your vote for the EE Players' Choice Award at ee.co.uk/gaming/BAFTA Games. And while you're in a voting mood, why not head over to our website at BAFTA.org to vote in our poll to help decide the most iconic video game character of all time. Voting closes on April 18th, so make sure to show up in support of your favorite protagonist for their chance to be crowned BAFTA's most iconic character. And make sure you come back to BAFTA's social channels on the 11th of April to find out which of our nominees will be taking home a coveted BAFTA mask. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And to my wonderful panelists, thank you so much. Congratulations to all of the nominees. And we'll leave you with this incredible teaser featuring all of today's nominated games. We'll see you on April the 11th.
Sounds like showtime to me. Let's get to it.
Did you write these pages, Mr. Wake?
I'm trying to remember it.
You claim to be an agent now, so act like it.
The odds are against us.
And the crowd goes wild.
Best friends to the end.
This is your story to write.
Highwing! Go!
Get up, slacker. We've got work to do.